Welcome to Revenge Justice, where every wrong finds its payback.
I never thought a summer evening could feel so heavy. The lake lay still that night, like glass reflecting a sky that refused to darken. I was sitting on the porch, sipping a cup of tea, when the phone rang. The sound sliced through the quiet like a blade. It was my son-in-law. His voice was tight, clipped, almost breaking. Something happened. Claire, he hesitated. My heart stopped. Claire, my daughter, my bright, fearless girl. They pushed her, he said. Into the lake. I dropped the cup. Tea splashed onto the floor, warm and bitter. My mind froze. I could see her there, arms flailing, water swallowing her, the panic, the fear. Where are you? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. At the lake house. She's okay now, I think. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know how someone could shove Claire into a lake. My daughter had always been cautious, careful, polite to a fault. And yet, someone had crossed a line that shouldn't exist. I didn't know it yet, but that was the night everything changed. By the time I arrived at the hospital, the night had grown colder. Claire was wrapped in a thin blanket, her hair damp, eyes wide and rimmed with red. She looked exhausted, as though the lake had taken a piece of her away. They pushed me, she whispered. They laughed. I felt my knees weaken. I held her hand and told her she was safe, that I was here. But even as the doctors checked her, ran scans, and assured us she was fine, I could see the fear lingering in her eyes. Outside, her in-laws gathered. Lorraine, her mother-in-law, wore that calm, pearl-clad smile that people used to hide things. Her son and the cousins hovered, whispering, their eyes carefully avoiding mine. It was an accident, Lorraine said. She slipped. The dock is slippery. But Claire's voice remained steady. They shoved me. I realized then that the family's charm and smiles were masks, covering something much darker. I couldn't let this go. The whispers, the polite offers, the suggestion that we settle quietly, it all smelled of a plan to erase the truth. That's when I thought of my brother, Mark. Mark had been a detective for 20 years, now retired. Calm, precise, and relentless. He believed in evidence, not rage. I called him that night. He listened. He didn't interrupt. Then he asked the two questions I needed to hear. Is Claire safe? Yes. Does she want justice? Yes. Then we will make them believe, he said. Mark arrived the next morning, boots creaking on the dock, eyes scanning every board, every ripple. He didn't rush. He observed, questioned, collected evidence. He found inconsistencies in the GoPro footage, phone records, and witness statements. Every little detail they thought they had hidden became part of a larger puzzle. Mark didn't just watch, he listened. Every word Claire had said, every hushed comment from the neighbors, every suspicious move from her in-laws, he catalogued it all. The GoPro, which they'd assumed useless, revealed shadows, a splash, a hand brushing against Claire's back. It was grainy, partial, but it was enough. He subpoenaed phone records. Text messages deleted in panic were recovered. Small inconsistencies became undeniable patterns. The family tried to spin stories, claiming slips, accidents, and overreactions. But Mark had seen this before. People who try to erase the truth often leave breadcrumbs, and he knew how to follow them. Witnesses began to talk. A teenage neighbor had been smoking on the shore that evening and saw two cousins push Claire from behind. An older man, fishing nearby, had moved his dash cam, accidentally capturing a fleeting silhouette. Little pieces of a puzzle that, when combined, painted a clear picture of intent. Mark worked quietly, deliberately. He never threatened. He never rushed. Every document, every recovered file, every statement was another stone in the fortress of truth. The in-laws grew restless. They sent texts, made calls, offered money, tried to hush the truth. Let's not make this a scandal, they said. They tried to charm Claire, to pressure her into settling quietly. But Claire was resolute. She wouldn't be silenced. "They don't realize what we have," Mark said to me one evening, as he spread evidence across the kitchen table. "And when they do, it will be too late." Mark brought in Rachel, a former prosecutor and sharp legal mind. She reviewed every detail, the GoPro footage, phone records, witness statements, and the timeline of the evening. Together, they built a case that no judge or jury could ignore. The family tried to discredit Claire. They claimed she was dramatic, emotional, even unstable. They dug into her past, looking for flaws to exploit. But every attempt backfired. The evidence was too strong, too precise. And Mark had anticipated their tactics, preparing witnesses carefully, establishing every timeline, every fact, every motive. The turning point came during Lorraine's deposition. Confident, poised, she thought she could manipulate the narrative. What she didn't know was that Mark had legally set up a recording. In a moment of overconfidence, Lorraine sent a voice note to a cousin, detailing the plan. "We shove her, we laugh, we cover it up." The recording was undeniable. Her calm, collected facade crumbled. Every lawyer in the room could see it. The family had plotted and attempted to hide the truth. It was the fulcrum on which the case would pivot. In court, the evidence spoke for itself. The DA, initially skeptical, now had a rock-solid case. The GoPro footage, witness testimonies, phone records, and Lorraine's own confession combined into an unstoppable narrative. The cousins faced charges for assault and reckless endangerment. Lorraine and her son were held liable in civil court, ordered to pay damages that stripped away their sense of entitlement. Plea deals, probation, and community service followed, legal consequences that left no room for denial. The courtroom was tense. Faces that once exuded power and privilege were pale, strained. The law, slow and methodical, had done its work. And for the first time, Claire could breathe without fear. Months later, Claire stood on the same dock, barefoot, wind in her hair. She poured water from a glass into the lake, letting go of fear, letting go of anger. "I'm letting it go," she said. "I'm not forgetting, but I'm not letting them hold me under anymore." We had won more than justice. We had restored peace. The family could no longer intimidate or manipulate. Claire could trust again. And the law, used patiently and wisely, had ensured accountability. Mark never sought recognition. "The most satisfying cases," he told me once, "have no fireworks. They just end, and people live." The moral of the story is simple: justice doesn't always require violence or anger. It often comes through patience, preparation, and the law. Truth, when pursued methodically, cannot be erased. Protect your loved ones, document the truth, and never underestimate the power of careful action. If you found this story inspiring, shocking, or empowering, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story of courage, justice, and resilience.